In this lesson, we are going to implement shopping cart functionality. What we're going to do is to implement add to cart. When users select a product and click on a product, we create shopping cart in the backend and show the items added to the cart as a badge in the header. Also, we associate shopping cart to the user. So if user log in and add an item to the cart, we save cart items for that user in the backend inside the cart table in PostgreSQL. To get the source code of this lesson, go to repository, add this link, go to commit section, find 12, implement add to cart, and use the code here to copy and paste and follow me throughout this lesson. Let's get to code. Here is the plan to implement add to cart functionality. Let us start by creating a validator for cart item. Go to validator.ts in live folder, and right after user, add cart item schema. It's a Zod object that contains these fields. For each cart item, we have product ID of type string, name, slug, quantity of this item, this product in the cart, image of this product, and price. For price, it's of type number, but we have a refine object to make sure that the number has two decimal points. So I'm using format number with decimal function. To add this function, go to utils.ts. After format error, add this function, format number with decimal. It gets a number, it gets a value of type number and return a string value. Inside that, we split the integer and decimal part of the number into int and decimal variable. Decimal part exists, we return integer part, but for decimal part, we add 0 at the end of it if it has only one digit. Otherwise, return integer part as it is. For example, if the value is 12.1, what we're going to return is 12.10. Import it here. Command I on Mac or Control Space on Windows. And that's it. Let's go for next step. Step 2 is getting type of cart item schema that we have defined in the validator.ts. Go to types/index, create a section for cart, and define type cart item and export it. Cart item is coming from zod.infer, import zod, and import cart item schema. If you move mouse over cart item, you can see all fields of cart item from cart item schema. Next step is creating a table for cart, because we are going to save shopping cart on the backend so user can access to the shopping cart in different devices. Go to schema.ts. After users, products, create carts, constant, and export it. It's equal to pg table. The name of table is cart. And here is list of fields of cart, columns of cart table. The first one is ID of type UUID, and we use default random to generate it. It's the primary key. User ID, so we have a reference to the user ID, but it's not mandatory. We have session cart ID. When user add first item to the cart, we create a session ID for the user, so we need to save it to match the device that user created the order with cart on the database in the cart table. Next one is items. We save items using JSON data type. Let's import JSON from the drizzle/orm/pgcore. And type of items is an array of cart item. We already created cart item type in the types/index.ts. It can't be null, and default value is empty array. Next one is item price if it's numeric value with 2 decimal points. Shipping price the same. Tax price, total price, and created at of type date. The default value is current time now. Save it. Step 4 is very important. It's in the auth.ts and creating JWT callback function. Go to auth.ts. Inside the callback right before session, define JWT function. It's an async function that accepts token user trigger session of type any. And then we check the user. If user is logged in, then we check if user comes from sign in page or sign up page. The trigger determines if user is coming from these actions. If it's like so, from cookies, let's import cookies from next/headers. Check for session cart ID. We will set session cart ID later in the middleware. If we don't have session cart ID, we need to raise an error because at the beginning of user visit, we create session cart ID. So user should have session cart ID. In the next step, here we have session cart ID. So I need to search the database, the cart table for the session cart ID. Let's import carts from db/schema. If session cart ID exists and we don't have user ID assigned to that cart, then we need to find the user, and if user exists, we save the current session ID as before signing session cart ID and set the session cart ID in the database as current session cart ID. By running these commands, we'll restore the cart ID of user and keep a reference to the current items in the cart for guest user using this line. The else part. In the else part, the user cart does not exist. So what I need to do is to update the cart where cart ID is equal to session cart exist ID and set this cart to the current user. It may be a bit complicated, but in the real scenario in the website, while we are adding item to the cart, you can see how it works. So wait for it. The next callback function that I'm going to define is right after session, define authorize function. This function will be run in every request to the website. So here it's the best time to define protected path. So I define an array of regular expression as protected path. So user cannot access, guest user, not logged in user cannot access to these pages. Shipping address, payment method, place order, profile, user / anything like user profile, order / anything like access to the user, access to the order details, and admin section entirely. So here I have protected path. I get current path using request.next URL. And here I compare protected path. If user is not logged in and the page is in the protected path, return false. So user will be redirected to the 401 error, cannot access to this page. Otherwise, check the session cart ID. If we don't have session cart ID, we need to generate one. Using crypto random UUID, generate session cart ID, and then create a new header based on the request.headers. So what it does is to duplicate request headers and create a new header. And in the next line, I'm using next response, import next response from next/server and call next function on it and pass this object, the request. And for request, set an object that contains header, but this header is the newly created header. And at the end, here is the magic. I set the cookies for the response and set session cart ID to the generated cart ID and then return the response. So what I did is to modify the response of this request and generate a session cart ID if it doesn't exist. So every user visit website will get a session cart ID and we will use it later for adding items to the cart. In the else part, we return true to go to the website. That's it about this part. Let's go for step 5. It's in the utils.ts. Open utils.ts. After format number with the decimal point, create round2 function. It accepts a value of type number of a string. If it has more than 2 decimal points, we limit it to only 2 decimal points using this function. What we did here is to add number.epsilon to the value to avoid rounding error and then multiply by 100, then run math.round to get rid of digits after decimal points and then divide by 100 to only get 2 decimal point value. If it's of type string, we do the same, but before running this algorithm, we convert it to number. If it's not a number nor a string, we return error message. Save the code. Let's go for next step. It's in the cart.action.ts. We need to create this file. Go to the lib, actions, new file, cart.actions.ts. The first function that I'm going to define here is getMyCart. First of all, make it server-side file using useServer and define the first function. It is getMyCart. Here I'm going to return the user shopping cart from the server. First of all, we need to search the cookies for session cart ID. Let's import cookies from next/header. If it doesn't exist, return undefined. Otherwise, get the session from auth, import it from @auth. If user is logged in, user ID has value. So I need to use it in the query in the database for getting the shopping cart items. Import db from db/drizzle and find the first item in the cart table where here the where is based on user ID. If user is logged in, we need to compare carts.userid with the current user ID. Let's import eq from drizzle_orm and carts from schema. If user ID is null, current visitor of the website is a guest user. So I need to search based on the session cart ID. There we are. At the end, we return the cart to the front end. Let's use this function. Go to header folder in the component/shared, component shared header, new file, cart button, and define cart button component, call getMyCart from cart actions, and get the cart, and in the return part, create a button from chat.cn, define a link to the cart page, and render shopping cart icon from Lucid React, create margin right 1, put cart caption, and here check the cart. If cart.items.length is greater than 0, show a badge, otherwise render nothing. For the badge, we calculate number of items in the cart, accumulate the quantity of each item, and show a number next to the cart if the shopping cart has items. Let's use cart item. Here, go to menu. Instead of this button, get rid of it and put cart item, and then import cart item. Get rid of all unnecessary imports. Here, if we check the website, we get this error. It says relation cart does not exist. To get rid of this error, in a new terminal, type npx the result kit push. By running this command, the cart table in the schema will be applied to the PostgreSQL database on Vercel. Okay, let's refresh again. This time there is no error. Here we have cart, but there is no item in the cart. Let's implement add to cart functionality. Let's go back to plan step 6. Here I'm going to define calc price function. What I'm gonna do here, go to cart action, at the very beginning define calc price. Import Zod, cart item, schema, and round 2 from utils. What I'm gonna do here is to get items in the cart. Here the type is coming from cart items schema by using z.infer. We have an array of cart item, and inside this function, calculate items price by multiplying each item by quantity of that item and summarizing them together into items price. Then calculate shipping price based on it. If it's greater than 100, free shipping, otherwise $10. You can change it based on your preference. Tax price is 15%, and total price is sum of items, shipping, and tax price. At the end, I return them as a string, convert them to decimal point using toFixed2. By having calc price function, I'm ready to implement add to cart item. Let's define this function. It's a server action. Here, instead of this, I'm going to use cart item, import cart item type from types/index.ts. Do the same for this one. It's much simpler. Get rid of z. And inside add to cart, add item to cart, I get the cart item as data, and in a try catch block, get the session ID from cookie. If it doesn't exist, raise an error. Then get the session from auth, get the user ID. It's either user ID or undefined if user is not logged in. Then get the cart using getMyCart function. Check the validity of data. Here data is a product that we're going to add to the cart. If it's okay, we go to this line, then find this product in product table. If product does not exist, return an error message. If we do not have a cart, so here is the first time that we are going to create the cart. Here is the first product that we're gonna add to the cart. Here I just check product.stock. If we do not have this product in the stock, raise an error. Otherwise, create a new record in the cart table using db insert cart, and here is the values. In the values, I need to set columns for user ID, items, session ID, and prices. For prices, I'm using calc prices and pass this item as an array to the calc price function. Then I need to revalidate the product page using revalidate path imported from next/cache, and that's it. By having this line, the new product will be added, and in the header, you will see a new product in the cart as a badge in the header menu using revalidate path. Then return success true, item added to the cart successfully. In the else part, so the cart exists. We already have a cart for current user or current session. In this case, I search for current product, the product that I'm going to add in the cart items. If I already have this cart, what I need to do here is to check the product.stock with current quantity +1, because I'm going to increase number of this item in the cart by 1. If I don't have this item, raise an error. Otherwise, find that product and set quantity to quantity +1. Increase this product in the cart. In the else part, I don't have this product in the cart, so what I need to do is to add this product to the cart using items.push. After this, update the cart record in the cart table using this function, set items to the new items that I calculated here, and update the prices using calc prices by cart items parameter. In the where condition, I update the item in the cart which its ID equal to the cart ID of current user. Then revalidate the path to update the UI and return this message, success true, and this product updated in if we have it already in the cart, or added to cart successfully if we don't have this product in the cart. In the catch part, if there is an error, return success false, and message is coming from format error of the error. Good. We successfully implemented add to cart functionality. Let's go for next step. It's creating a type for the cart based on the cart's model in the schema. Go to index.ts in types folder, write before cart item, define cart type, use infer select model from the result ORM based on the type of carts in db/schema, imported from db/schema. Next step is creating add to cart component. Go to shared/product in components folder, create a new file, add to cart.tsx. Here is the code for add to cart. It's a client component. Use client and export default function add to cart. This component accepts two parameters: cart, the shopping cart, and item. It's the item that we are going to add to the cart. Let's import cart from types folder and cart items from the same folder. Here I'm using omit cart ID from cart item. So for the item, it's not mandatory to have cart ID. And also cart is optional for add to cart function. Then access to the router using use router from nexus/router, use toast. Here I need to install toast component from shadcn, create a new terminal and run this command: pnpm dlx shadcn-ui @latest add toast. Okay, it's installing Toast, and that's it. Let's import use Toast from component/ui/use Toast. Import use transition from React, because here we have a button that has an async function, and we need to show loading state. Then define exist item. It comes from cart. If cart exists and cart.item has the item inside the add to cart parameter, then return this conditional rendering. If exist item is true, create a div, render a button, import it from shadcn, set type to button, variant to outline. If is pending is true, disable. For onClick, define this arrow function, and inside call start transition as parameter, pass an async function, and inside that call remove item from cart. We did not implement this in the cart item.action. Let's implement it. And here define remove from cart item. It's an async function that accepts product ID of type string. And here I'm just returning success to true and message to product ID removed. I'm not going to implement remove from cart in this lesson. It's just a template function that for the next lesson, I implement this feature. Go back to add to cart and command I import cart, remove item from cart action. Pass product ID as parameter. And after running this line, toast this message. The message is coming from the backend, I mean the remove item from cart server action function. And the variant is based on the success. If it's true, default. Otherwise, show this deconstructive, the error type message. As caption for this button, check is pending. If it's true, use loader. Loader is an icon from Lucid React, set width and height, and use animate spin to make it like a spinner. If loading is false, is pending is false, use minus icon from Lucid React. Then render and span, create horizontal padding, and display current quantity, the quantity of this item in the cart. After this, it's time to render plus button to add item to the cart. Here we render a button, set variant outline, disable is pending, and for onClick, use start transition and call add item to cart, import it from cart action, pass the item as parameter, get the response, and toast a message based on the response. The caption of this button is loader if is pending is true, and plus imported from Lucid React if is pending is false. The else part, we don't have this product in the cart, so I need to render a button with add to cart caption. Here is the button. For onClick, start transition, and when user click on this button, call add item to cart server action, pass the item to this function, get the result. If it's not success, return error message, otherwise render successful message item added to the cart. And for this toast, I'm going to use toast action imported from @component/ui/toast. And for this toast, I'm going to render a button. It's go to cart. When user click on it, redirect user to the cart page. Here is the caption, is pending show loader, otherwise show plus icon, and the text next to the icon is add to cart. Save the code and let's use it in the product page. Go to page.tsx in Slack folder, find add to cart button, remove it, replace it with this one. Import add to cart from product folder. Here we need to get the cart, scroll up, right before return, call get my cart, import it from cart action, and here I get access to the cart. Then pass it to the add to cart function for item. Here I need to fill items because item is of type cart item. Product ID is coming from current product.id, product name, slug, and for the image, I'm using the first image in the images array. For price, because the price here is of type string, I'm using round2 to round it and convert it to the number. Save the code. We don't need button here. And let's check the result. Here I'm as a guest user. Go to product page. Let's fix this error. Next router was not mounted. Go to add to cart, scroll up. Instead of next router, use next navigation. Refresh and it's okay. Okay, let's try it. I'm going to click on add to cart. Awesome. It's been added. In the header menu, I have cart and a badge with number of item in the cart. Let's increase it. Good, it's 2. Decrease. Doesn't work. We implement decrease, remove from cart in the next lesson. And let's go to another product page, add item to the cart. Awesome. 3, 2 for previous product and 1 for current product. I'm going to test another scenario. Sign in as a user. As you see, there is no item in the cart. Let's go to another product, add this product to the cart. I have 1 item to the product for current user. If I sign out, what do I have here? I have 3, and the 3 is coming from before sign in. Shopping cart depends on the user account. So if I sign in again, I have my products in the cart. Good. We successfully implemented shopping cart in this lesson. It's server-side shopping cart. We save shopping cart in the backend in the PostgreSQL table, whether user is logged in or not. Before finishing each lesson, we need to open a new terminal and run npm run build to make sure there is no type error, ESLint error in the project. Here we are getting this error. Let's open use toast.ts in components/UI. And here in line 129, we have this error. Just click here and disable the error message for this because it's a component from Shadsi and I'm not going to edit it. Save the code and run npm run build again to make sure there is no error in the code at all. Good, everything is okay and it's generating static pages and it's done. Great, let's commit a message for this lesson. It's 12 implement add to cart. Here list of all changes that we have made in this lesson, and commit and push. In the next lesson, we implement cart page and removing item from the cart. Until that lesson, bye-bye.